Hey guys, how are you? We are starting this webinar Wednesdays back up, and we're starting with Otter Waiver. Ben Nelson, the founder of Otter Technologies, is here with us. We're actually waiting on another presenter, and I can't really complain about it because he's my boss. So, hey, we'll wait as long as we need to. But the main presenter today is going to be Ben, and I'm going to allow Ben to tell us a little about himself, about his company, his what's your mission statement, Ben? Just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and where you've come from.
Wow, I feel like you just put me on the spot, Joel.
I did.
I came from my mom and dad back in 1984. Oh, you don't want to go that far back. Okay. So I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, participating in 4-H as well as shooting sports. So being in archery as well as being at a gun range was instilled at me at a young age. So as an adult, 30 plus years later, I won't actually age myself. Me and my team decided to actually step into the realm of compliance when it came to creating software built for compliance in certain industries that have a lot of issues. The number one industry that I'm most fond of and the industry that I grew up with was the gun industry. So we wanted to be able to make a software that helped protect ranges. You know, we never want to face those days when someone is trying to sue you or you find out that someone came into your range that wasn't supposed to, but you have to be able to pull up that waiver. And anyone that's been on paper waivers knows that when that day comes knocking, you're like, crap, where is the paper waiver that someone signed? And so we make it very, very easy to be able to relieve that stress and make sure that you stay compliant in all 50 states with our digital waiver product, Otter Waiver.
So basically, you're just an entrepreneur.
Yeah, basically.
You saw a need and you came up with a solution. That's awesome, man.
Yep.
We're still waiting on Ezra. However, what I'm going to do is just have you kind of kick everything off. Kind of tell us what we're going to learn during this 45-minute presentation. Also, we'll have a question and answer session at the very end. But what are we going to learn in this webinar, Ben?
So in this webinar, we're going to learn how to build a waiver, how to sign a waiver, and what makes us very unique in the e-signature space to make sure that we have you covered and have your back when people sign a waiver and present it. And also, since my dog wants to play right now, I have to introduce you all to Lola. You can also find her at SHOT Show and range retailer shows with us at our booth typically. But
There's Lola
that I'll be playing with during this webinar.
That's awesome. And it looks like Ezra joined us. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Ezra's here. Hey, Ezra.
I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Sorry I'm late. But better late than never, Joel, is what we like
Absolutely. What state are you in? Are you in your home state today, or are you still jetting
to say.
around
Well, I'm
everywhere?
actually in Tennessee, over at Sumner Gun and Supply, one of our awesome customers. And we're just visiting. It's the first time I'm here. They've been with us for quite a long time and pretty much use everything. So remind me, Joel, for our post recording, I'll send a couple pictures. They really have a neat setup with the good old core tags, our digital tags. They
Okay.
obviously have a range, so they use Core Force. And they're also, of course, using coreSTORE, and they are using Gorilla as well. So great customer, huge fan of CoreWare. He's been through a lot with us, and I'm super excited to be here. I'm actually in their training room. They have an awesome training room that they let me use. So I'm kind of occupying their training room, which is
That's awesome. And they
not
may
very
be
nice of
using
them.
Otter Waiver here pretty soon if they're not already.
Yeah, we'll see. We're excited about this webinar. We've built this integration, and this is probably a good introduction. So, from a point of sale standpoint and a e-commerce standpoint, and we do so many different things, Joel. Especially these days, we've been focused a lot on different legal aspects in our industry, right? And I think it's important for all ranges to really look at how they're managing their waivers. And what's interesting is, we offer a full e-commerce range management system, and we have our own range tool or waiver tool, right? So a lot of people, when we integrate it into Otter, and we also, in full disclosure, integrate into Smart Waiver. And again, we're not here to compare the two. That's up to our customers to decide what fits them best. And we say that about CoreWare. We're not a fit for everyone. I literally had a conversation yesterday with a customer, and I said, I don't think we're a good fit for you. I'm not being rude. I just literally don't think we're the right fit. I think you need to look at potentially something else that meets your expectations better. So, Otter is not the end all. Smart Waiver is not the end all. It just depends. They're different, right? And there's pros and cons to everything. So here's what's interesting, Joel. We have our own waiver system, right? But one of the reasons why I wanted to have this webinar is to make sure that even our current customers that are using our waiver system, which quote unquote is free because it's part of our package, I strongly recommend that you look at Otter. And why do I say that, Joel? It's hard to be everything for everyone, it's part of CoreWare's value proposition, right? We feel it's important to have one throat to choke, but at the same time, we also are realistic, and we know we can't be experts at everything. So our waiver solution is simply part of our form builder, right? It's a form, and again, everyone might say, well, Ezra, a waiver is a form, but let me finish. So we have a form builder, and we can use it. We can actually, add fields and literally take anyone's waiver, make it look like, the current waiver, add a signature box, add a video that plays, and force them to watch the video. And we can do all that, right? And you do have a form of a waiver, right? But CoreWare itself is not keeping up with, what are the compliance rules when it comes to waivers? What are all the features and waivers that go beyond just making it a simple form? So, this is where Ben and Otter, and what I like about the Otter solution is it's very cost effective. And Ben can address all of that. But you'll see that it's a solution that was built for waiver management, right? And that's where I think it differentiates, from us creating a waiver in the form builder, right? So I think it's really important, even if you're a current customer and you've got your waiver set up with CoreWare and it's free and that looks great, is take a look at everything that Ben offers. We built a beautiful integration. It's no different than the integration into our own waivers, which is great because, again, Ben integrates into other point of sale systems. But I think our integration is the best and provides the most seamless experience for the customer. So literally, when they sign up on Otter, the customer gets created in coreSTORE. When they come into the store, they can sign the waiver, whether it's in the store or I think they can do it from their phone even. And Ben, I believe that's true, right?
Yep.
So what they do is the beauty is you pull that customer up and you can immediately see the information about the waiver. When is it expiring, and what the status is, and again, that it's a very deep integration, which is important. So having an integration doesn't mean that that's going to be a successful relationship between two applications, because it has to be done right. So just because someone uses the word API or Zapier or whatever words they want to use doesn't always mean that the implementation has been done properly, and therefore it could end up being a bigger pain in the ass than it is not having that solution. But we really worked hard. I mean, Ben, I know we went back and forth, from a technical standpoint, and, had some challenges from both sides, but we worked through those, and,
Yep.
we'll make sure to show that integration. But what I want Ben to go through first, and hope I didn't end up throwing a whole wrench into the whole schedule, because I know I'm walking in kind of, you guys have been talking about this webinar, and I'm probably walking in and destroying the whole plan. But that's what I
Ezra,
tend to do.
we've actually already finished the webinar, so this is the tail end of it. But I'm just joking.
Oh my God, Joel, don't mess with me, because and some of our audience watching may be our customers, and they know we've been fighting server problems for the last 4 days.
Yeah.
I was literally up till 3 in the morning and up again at 6 in the morning, and I'm in a different time zone. So you literally threw me for a complete loop. I mean, I totally
good.
believed you. So. Funny,
little
Joel.
levity.
I'll get you back on that one. And by the way, where the hell is your hat? I am not used to seeing you without a hat. What is going on?
What is it with everybody? I got a sunburn, and when I put my hat on, I wear black everywhere, and it snows on my black. And for some reason, these cameras it looks like I look like I have like the Big Dipper on my chest whenever I, am messing with my head. So I'm trying to let it heal. Guys, I'm bald by choice, sort of. All right. I try to lay a blade on my head often because I think it's beautiful. Okay. Bald is beautiful. So just leave me alone about my beautiful head. All right. Don't be so jealous, y'all. Ezra, you're not the first person that said anything. I feel like people are really jealous of my head, and I see somebody typing at me right now. Stop, Josh. No. Hey, but seriously, to get back on track,
Did
Ezra.
we start this webinar, Joel?
We actually did.
Oh, good.
We actually did. To get back on track, though, I do want to let everybody know that in our replay we will have a demo. With everything working together.
We'll try to do the demo right after Ben shows his.
Okay.
I'll actually show my screen. The reason why Joel mentions that is sometimes when we add our screen sharing, which again I know Ben's going to share his screen, we're still working through some kinks with our webinar platform. So hopefully everything will work, Joel. So, but worst case, we'll definitely add it at the end.
Absolutely. All right, so I guess Ben, take it away. I'm out of here for a while.
All right, perfect. Ezra, you were about to say that you wanted me to go a different direction. I was going to start off with how to build a waiver and how to sign a waiver, and then talk about.
Oh no! No, Ben, this is your show. I was saying I may have thrown a wrench into it by just jumping in and talking, because I don't even remember if I was supposed to give an introduction. So no, this is your floor, and you absolutely do whatever order you want to show things, and that sounds perfect.
All right, well, we'll get to it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to build a waiver. When you sign up for Otter Waiver, it's very, very easy and very comprehensive. Once you get into the dashboard, we actually have great helpful guides for building a waiver, collecting signatures, managing participants, as well as setting up everything in your dashboard.
Some of our customers, Ben, they actually ask us, I know they ask us, hey, do you guys have a waiver you recommend? So if I sign up to Otter, is there any templates that I can use if I'm a new range, or maybe a waiver came from Google and I want to refresh it?
Well, I have to always tell everyone we highly recommend you get a waiver from a lawyer, but we do get this question all the time.
That makes sense.
So you can search in our help documents for sample waivers, and right here we have a shooting range waiver already pulled up for our example demo. So on this sample waiver, we have everything highlighted for where it goes, and we have to give you a legal disclosure that this was written for Colorado, Nevada, as well as Utah. So double check your states. But I'll be honest, a lot of people look at this waiver that we created and they pull a lot of things from this into their own waiver. So this is a great example. It details everything out. I think the number one section that a lot of people use is actually use of likeness, that they automatically pull and put into their own waiver. And this is for when you're taking pictures in the range or taking video, always making sure you have stuff covered, because I know you guys talk about it as much as we do, but it's always great to have fresh video content, fresh photo content when it comes to promoting your business. So we're going to dive right in with creating a range waiver with our sample range waiver document. So you'll just go into the document builder. We're going to click waiver builder. We're going to confirm all your information. This information is automatically used in a lot of sections to be able to pre-populate fields. That's why we have you confirm the information. Now on this first section, this is what the user is going to see on their very first screen. So we're going to call this range waiver 2023. We're going to call this an activity waiver. And then I'm going to choose gun range. And I'll tell you a little secret about my background. My background has about 15 years in marketing and advertising. So I was geeking out when I was creating all these activity icons. We actually our graphic designer hand drew activity icons for every activity you could ever imagine. Something that I like to geek out about and say. So after that's filled out, the next section is who's going to be signing. If you're in the state of Florida, we do know that Florida requires a separate waiver from an adult. So you would have to create an adult waiver and then a minor waiver. You can't use the same system for both in Florida. That's the one catchy rule in Florida that we know about. But if you click this info button, you can see all the required fields legally that have to be collected for each category. So for adult, you have name, birthday, email, phone number, and signature. Minors, you have minor name and birthday, and then guardians name, phone number, birthday, email, and signature. So it shows all the information right there. We make it very easy so you don't have to guess what information you need to collect. For this purpose, we're going to just skip the emergency contact, but you can add emergency contact if you want to. Next section is going to be building your waiver. So we're going to jump over into this template that I created that you guys can access through our help documents. We're going to put in the title right there. And everything is color-coded on here with instructions. So let me copy this big waiver. And there's a couple sections I have to change. So everything that's highlighted in this waiver, you're going to have to update. So I'm going to scroll up. Let's try copying that again. There we go. Company name. We're going to put in coreWare for the fun of it. This is the text editor, so I always like to go through here and just make sure everything looks good. Grammarly says that my grammar sucks right now, but I'm going to leave it. And then we're going to do the next section. And the nice thing about this system is if you have multiple waivers, it's going to take you on average probably 10 minutes to set this up. But after you're all set up and ready to go, it's very, very easy to use. And we're going to change this to Colorado. All right. So that's the body of the waiver. The signature page text is always a text that starts with, I've carefully read and fully understand the provisions of this release, blah, 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 blah. Now with our system, we automatically have this text sitting in here for you. You can change it with your own or leave what we already wrote, but this is pretty standard in the entire industry for waivers. So we're going to go to the next screen. The next screen, you can add additional fields such as collecting home address, driver's license and ID. Both of these sections will push into CoreWare, so less data entry you have to do. You can also add a video to watch, or you could create additional fields and ask certain questions such as, are you pregnant? Are you a felon? Are you currently been drinking? Or you can ask questions for your marketing such as, how did you hear about us? And then you can put multiple choice on there. So lots of different ways. If you ever used Google Forms, this works very similar to Google Forms. So you can create a short answer, a paragraph, a radio button, or a checkbox. So very, very easy. And I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And for the fun of it, we'll just go ahead and put home address, and we won't have it required. So we'll go save and next. This screen, you can preview the entire waiver. And as you can see, it's a very long waiver. That's the nice thing about digital. You can make sure you're taking care of all your legal guidelines without having to make sure it fits on one piece of paper. So once you click publish, it's going to automatically create a custom link and a QR code and an iframe pop-up code. And coming the end of this week, we're also launching a WordPress plugin that's going to allow you to drop in this link to our WordPress plugin, and you can choose where you would like a button on your website so that you can change the text to say, sign your waiver ahead of time or sign your waiver here. And everything's going to be customizable so that you can insert that onto your website and make it very, very easy to collect waivers before someone shows up. Another cool feature that we have on here, especially on this side of things, is you can also help raise money for Gun Owners of America. Anytime you want to turn it on or turn it off, you can. And it's a nice little feature since they're one of our partners in the industry. So from there, the next part is, how do people sign a waiver? So there's 4 different options for people signing a waiver. The first is to share a link, and sharing that link can be with the iframe pop-up. It could be with a WordPress plugin. You can utilize the link with a QR code for scanning on your phone, or if you have iPads or tablets, you can put our kiosk app on those tablets for people to sign in person. Most of the time, depending on the range size or the size of the business, most people on the bare minimum have about 2 tablets and then several QR codes that say scan to sign your waiver. So if 30 people walk up, 2 tablets are full, the other 28 can just scan the QR code and sign on their phones. So it makes it very, very easy. So this is a process that a customer is going to go through for signing. Now, since I'm signed in on my own account, it's going to say Otter Technologies, and it's going to have our logo. But when you create an account, everything's customizable to your brand. So your brand's going to show here, your name's going to show here, as well as everything else. And this is how it's going to look on the kiosk app, on a phone, tablet, link, etc. So it's pretty much the same seamless process. So the next screen is going to give the option for adult or minor. If someone has up to 10 kids, they can sign up for 10 kids. If they have more than 10 kids and they have 15, bless their heart, they can do 2 separate waivers, one for 5 and one for 10. But we're going to go through the process of an adult. So we're going to click continue, and it's going to ask for first name and last name. And then it's going to ask for email, and they have the right to opt out of email. And they also have the right to opt in for text message. Once they click next, it's going to show the address field because we selected it to collect this. And at that point, it's going to generate the legal document. What makes us very, very unique in the e-sign space is we created this over a need in the industry that we saw over 3 years ago. And that was, we needed a waiver solution that was smart and handy, like the process you just saw, that could autofill a PDF. Like a great example is the companies that have been doing it right in the e-sign marketplace for years has been DocuSign, one of the leaders, Adobe Sign, HelloSign, PandaDoc. But if you use any of those, you realize that you upload a PDF, you set where someone signs and where they put their name, and that's the process. So we took what they've been doing great, and we added easy field collection to automatically insert that information into a PDF to make it very, very simple for filling out a waiver. So from here, someone can scroll and read this entire agreement. Something else that we do very, very unique when it comes to document guidelines as well as e-signature guidelines, that as you can see as I'm scrolling, we follow guidelines for 12-inch font, 1-inch borders, 1.5 spacing, as well as making sure that we have the page numbers and document ID on every single page. This is needed when it comes to, sorry about that. This is needed when it comes to following e-sign compliance as well as document guidelines. And it's also the reason why one feature you won't see in Otter is an option to do an initial, because since you're signing a legal document and everything is page numbered, you don't have to initial a section. You just have to sign for the full agreement. So initialing is something that we don't do on Otter Waiver because of this factor of following all the guidelines for e-signature. So once someone clicks agree and agrees to terms of service, which allows us to push data to coreWare, as well as the document, electronic record, and signature disclosure, it's going to automatically scroll them to the signature page. And as you can see, my name's here, date of birth's there, I'm an adult participant. I click and sign, and I can draw in or type in. And it makes it very, very easy. Once the document finalizes, it's going to automatically push to coreWare, and it's also going to show up in our system if you ever need to get in here. But the brilliant thing about an integration with coreWare is we expect you to use our software to create your document and set it up and sync it with coreWare. But with a coreWare integration, you really don't need to come back into our system unless you're doing an update to a waiver. So all the information is pulled into coreWare, as well as the signed PDF. So it makes it very, very easy to be able to use both platforms. And when someone signs, another thing that makes it unique on the legal basis is after they sign, the system's also going to create a unique audit trail for the entire process. It's going to give all the information that's required by e-signature guidelines with tracking the IP address, the location, the device I used, the security web link, which means I came in through a link, I used my computer, this is my IP address, and then it tracks the entire process from when I viewed it, when I confirmed my age, when I signed it, and when I completed the document. So in case you ever have to deal with pulling up a record of electronic signature record of a document for legal purposes, you would download this along with the audit trail that's attached to make sure that you have proof that the person signed. So from there, that's the main process. You build your document and then you start sharing it with everyone, from our WordPress app, kiosk app, QR code, keyword, or through a link. And once you get that set up, that's when it's time to get set up with the coreWare integration. So when you go to the integrations page, you can click coreWare and it's going to give you directions on what to do next. And I'll let Ezra take it from here.
All right, so in coreSTORE, there's a couple of places where we have integrations. In this case, since it's not location-based, you'll go into company settings. And in company settings, all you need to do is search for Otter Waiver. And in Ben's screen, there's data, right? So you first click on and follow the directions in Otter Waiver, and then all you have to do is copy paste all this information directly from the screen that Ben just showed you. And you'll copy the client ID and the client secret. And you'll notice this third field you can't change. It's already filled in for you. So it's really just two pieces of information. You copy that client ID, copy your client secret, and you're off to the races. So basically, when someone goes into the kiosk on
the Otter Waiver side and fills out a waiver. Basically, customer walks to the counter, they're ready to go shoot, they're ready to get it on the range. You'll just ask for their name or scan their driver's license like you normally do. So it will pull that customer up, and I can just choose Bradley. Won't worry about that. And you'll see that Bradley has a waiver, right? And it's green. So there's no expiration date on this particular waiver that Bradley signed. And you can actually pull up the waiver by clicking on that waiver button. So that will pull up the actual signed waiver, so you can review the waiver and make sure, all the information is accurate and it matches their ID, because again, you want to make sure that the person going out on the range is actually the person that filled out the waiver. So what's important, I think, is putting in the right workflow, in terms of making sure that you have the right procedures. Even though you have a system, you still want to make sure that when that customer comes up, just click that button. It will open up the waiver in another tab, and it will show you the contents of that waiver. So that you can do that manual check. It's really important, because at the end of the day, the waiver is there to protect you from any liability issues. It's important that you take the step and don't make any assumptions. Yes, it's an extra click and you have to look at that waiver, but you definitely want to train your store personnel to review what information was filled in that waiver, and to make sure that it is matching their ID. I was talking to one of our customers, and they said, well, our customers, when they come to the range, we don't like to force them to give us their license information. But again, in today's world, you want to make sure that you've got everything in place to cover you from any potential legal problems, which is why you invest in systems, right? One of the reasons, right? That's why you have to have a compliant bound book and 4473. It's no different than waivers. You want to make sure you've got a waiver system that is paying attention to all of the legal ramifications and all the legal issues surrounding waivers. And you also want to make sure that you put in place procedures in your store to make sure that, again, just because they signed a waiver, make sure that you know that the person that signed the waiver, especially if they're at a kiosk, when they come up to the counter to go on the range, make sure it's that same person. Because again, CYA, cover your ass. So the integration's beautiful. I mean, it just works perfectly. As soon as they sign that waiver, if they've never been in your store, it creates a contact. It creates a customer record for you, so you don't have to enter that information in. It will all be in there. And again, actually, this is a question, Ben. Are they able to, or are they, can we make a required field as far as putting in a driver's license number?
Yeah, you can set driver's license to be required, and you can also set the address to be required. Really up to you for what fields you force them to do and what fields you don't force them to do. So the general ones that we went over are all the required ones. And then from there, you can add 10 additional questions, set up a video and everything else. I actually saw Todd asking about how to add a video and what that flow is. So when I get a chance, I'll jump back over to my screen and show him.
Yeah, you can. Let me, I'll stop sharing and your turn. I'll throw the ball at you.
All right. Todd, you were asking about how to add a video and what that process looks like. So a couple things about our system. We're very, very anal when it comes to compliance. So there's a couple things that we won't ever do. I did see on one of your questions that you asked if there's an ability to take automatic pictures of the customer. And that is something that crosses a line when it comes to privacy rights. When an app is automatically taking pictures of a customer without their consent, it's against privacy rights for them. Down the road, we do plan on adding an option to allow a customer to opt in to take a picture if they want to, but also opt out if they don't want to take a picture. So whenever a waiver is created in the system, it's a legal trail. So you can never edit an active waiver. So if you do need to edit an active waiver, it's always good to, before you add it into CoreWare, make sure you test it out make sure it's 100% how you want it before you put it live inside of coreWare. Because if you have to edit it, you're going to have to deactivate the old one and clone the new one. So since we're going to show you how to do a video, we're going to show you how to clone a waiver. So we're going to click this button, click clone waiver. I'm just going to say version 2 with video. We're going to go save and next. All this information is already there. So I'm going to jump to the new screen. I'm going to add this video, click save and next, publish. And at this point, it's creating a new legal document trail. So in the case that this is a brand new waiver for you, you're going to want to make sure you deactivate the old one. So I'm going to open this up so you can see the video process. So as soon as you click this, it's going to pull up the video. Now, when it comes to what type of video links to put in, we advise to use Vimeo and use a free account on Vimeo because of the fact that you're not going to have ads on a video such as YouTube. And secondly, anytime you need to update your safety video, you can publish a new video on Vimeo for that purpose instead of having to clone a waiver, redo the waiver because you updated the safety video. But using Vimeo allows you to automatically update that video. So from here, there's a couple options. Like right now, you can see that I can just scroll to the end and force the ending so I can click continue. That's another thing that can be set up on Vimeo. You can actually set it up that you can set a setting to only have a play button and not allow them to scroll through the video. By forcing that, then they're stuck on this screen. There's no way to actually do what I did. But after the video is done, this button is now green and you can now go to the next screen. To your question, Todd, no, you can't upload a video on our system. You have to use a platform such as Vimeo to host it. Any other questions while I am in the software right now?
I have a question about waivers, Ben, in general, because I know I've been asked this by customers. Do waivers expire, or is that up to, the actual owner of the business to decide if a waiver, in other words, do waivers from a legal standpoint, do they need to be renewed after a certain period of time?
That is a question to ask a lawyer or insurance because in 3 years, I've seen so many different variations.
Gotcha.
One time we had a skating rink that their lawyer said only have to sign one time for their entire life. And I was like, what? That was kind of weird. Other times I've seen ranges that their lawyer told them have someone sign a new waiver every time they come in. That was kind of a lot. The average that we see is once a year, and we recommend once a year for marketing purposes, making sure that you have fresh data that's being pushed to coreWare, that you have a recent driver's license, recent phone number that works, and a recent email that works. Because if you're only collecting that data once every 7 years or only one time, people change their numbers, people change their email addresses. So it's good to always have good information in both systems. Now, Todd,
that makes sense. So
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, do you want to let me share my screen real quick?
I want to answer Todd's question real quick. He just asked about the check-in process. So if you're using both systems, Todd, when you're in the check-in folder and you click on your waiver, you can search someone by first name, last name, or by phone number. And you just click this box for check-in, and it's going to automatically store check-in time in the system. All right, Ezra, take it over.
Awesome. So I just want to show everyone because I now have, again, we saw the waiver. So again, if I click it here, it actually will pull up, and let me see if I can share this tab. So it just goes to another tab. That way coreSTORE doesn't close, and you'll see the information here, and you'll see the actual signature and all the information that you collected from the waiver. So it's really easy to just pull up your waiver directly from the store. And I was wondering, not to put you on the spot, Ben, but I think it would be nice if there was a way to, in Otter, to just specify, hey, I want the waiver to expire after a year, because then we could actually show the expiration date and make it intelligent, so that the customer, when they came in, we could see, hey, and what we do with our own, which again, I want to match that functionality, is we turn this from green to yellow. Yellow means it expires within 30 days, and red means it's expired. So if we could maybe put in a live feature request to you to say, hey, it would be great if we could specify on the waiver how long for it to expire till. That way, when you send us that data, you can send us that expiration date, and we can show a visual cue to say, hey, this waiver is about to expire, or don't let this person get on the range until they make sure to sign a new waiver.
Yeah, we'll
Not to put you on the spot, but that's my feature request for you.
I got it. So we'll have a drop down in settings that allows people to choose between 1 to 20 years. So
that's perfect.
On how
I think that'll make everyone really happy. And that's fantastic.
And other things that are coming down the pipeline, especially for Range Retail coming up, is we're going to be launching at Range Retail, if not sooner, multiple languages in our system. It's been
fantastic.
It's been a big request to have Spanish and French. So that's going to be an option, and we're going to do it a little differently than everyone else. How it's going to be set up is you can choose you want multiple languages, and then you have to copy and paste that language in the original language in a document, so that when a user sees the waiver, they can choose a drop down if they want to see Spanish or English and be able to sign an actual Spanish document instead of a translated.
That's fantastic.
Document. But yeah,
that'll be a great feature. And then, no problem, Ben. I love doing that. I know you were hoping secretly that I was caught up with server issues and I wouldn't join. Not putting you on the spot, but a quick question.
Yep.
Range Retail show is coming up in Milwaukee. We'll be there. Do you have a booth there?
Yep. We'll have a booth, I
fantastic.
think on the same aisle as you.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So everyone, the Range Retail show is a fantastic show. It's going to be in Milwaukee. It started 4 years ago. It started in Denver, was a great show, and then it moved to West Palm Beach. It was a great show. New Orleans, was the first year after the great COVID, and it wasn't as well attended, but I know the NSSF is putting a lot of effort into building up attendance and actually having real content there, which is useful especially for the ranges, but even for retailers. And when I say content, there's educational sessions. In the past, they had us vendors a lot of times trying to educate, but at the end of the day, it was turning into more of a selling job, right? So a show like this, you want a true education. And I believe they're getting presenters that are actually industry people, right?
Mm-hmm.
People that run ranges. So I highly, highly recommend you look into that show. We will be there. We'd love to see you. Ben will be there. Lola will be there. And it's going to be a good time. Joel, I don't know if you're around, but I'll give you a hard time because, SHOT Show, we had a bit of a coffee failure.
Yeah, it was the mob.
Yeah, it was the mob. Yeah, I don't know if we can say anything. We're being recorded, Joel.
No, we're not the mob. We're not the mob. We're the victims here. Hey, Ben, I do have a couple of more questions as far as just some, basic questions. Can people add multiple waivers?
They can add multiple waivers. It doesn't cost at all. Since our system is very easy to use, we don't have a fee to set one up because, as you can see with the process, you can just follow our video and follow the process, and you can make If you're the type of facility that has axe throwing and a range, you might need an axe throwing waiver and then a range waiver, and then you might need a training waiver. So you can put unlimited waivers in our system for collection.
So once those waivers are set up, can they and they're active, can they be edited while they're
They
active?
cannot be edited while they're active. That's something I went over just a little bit ago. The reason for that is it's a legal document trail. So if you edit an active waiver, it makes everything else invalid. So we don't allow editing. So our system allows you to clone a waiver, make your edits, update it, and then deactivate the other one. So all those last documents can be saved in the system.
And that truly is, and let me just break it down to simpler terms. Yes, it does allow editing, but it's not editing the active one. So it's super easy. You just hit clone, boom, go edit it at your heart's will. And then when you're satisfied, basically you say, okay, the other one's deactivated and now we have an active one. And that's really important. That's a great example of our failure in our system, right? Because you can edit an existing form. Again, we tell you what the best practice is, but we don't prevent you from making just an honest mistake, right? You may not know that you shouldn't be editing this, exact document. And also one of the things I wanted to point out, you probably didn't catch it on my screen, but every waiver is assigned, and Ben, maybe you can explain this, but basically you've got a unique identifier on every, not just like the actual version of the waiver, right? But the each individual signed document also gets an ID. And I think that's really important as well, because I assume I can go back and say, okay, they signed this version of the waiver.
Yep.
Right? Is that a correct statement,
That's
Ben?
a correct statement. That's a legal code that's attached to everything. So it's attached to every single page as well as the audit trail. And it goes back to what I was saying is it's a legal thumbprint on the entire document that you're signing.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
So everyone, just make sure, we're being recorded. Ben did commit to having our expiration date done by our range and retail show. So you heard him.
It's true.
I'm totally kidding.
Oh, but I will have it done.
God, if I could get everything done that we talk about with updates and features in the time frame that we'd like, I'd be a much wealthier man. So we all know how programming goes. Some things that seem easy, just in all seriousness, even though I am asking that of Ben, it could turn into a monumental effort. We've learned that the hard way over the years at CoreWare. So, but yeah, it would. I think that's a great feature to have. And you did hear it's going to be exclusive only to CoreWare. Again, I'm just kidding.
CoreWare is going to integrate it first, though.
Wow.
That's awesome. Sweet.
Ezra, can you show a workflow for checking to see if someone has a waiver when they don't have a waiver? It looks like we're getting a question for what's that process when someone doesn't have a waiver filled out in the system? Like, what does it show?
So it's actually pretty easy. So when you pull up that customer, so if I remove Bradley, and in case I forget, Joel, you may want to you may need to blur out on the recording. I pulled up Bradley, and I think that's his real address. I shouldn't say it's his real address. Maybe it's his real address, so let's blur it out. But let's just pull up some miscellaneous. I think this is all fake data. It should be. It's our test site, but we'll just pull up John. We'll just blur out all addresses, right? But anyway, you'll notice here it doesn't say waiver, right? Where Bradley's, when I pulled him up, it clearly showed the word waiver. So at that point, they don't have a waiver. And again, they may say, oh, I did have a waiver. And you can just ask them, well, did you sign it with a different email address? And more than likely they did. And in that case, that's fine. You'll just pull them up by that email address. You should see them listed twice when you start typing in their name anyway. Because again, we have no way of knowing that this is the same person if they're using two different email addresses. So again, if you don't see that green and at some point it will be Again, it will be not green potentially. It might be yellow, it might be red. But if you don't see the word waiver, that means they didn't sign it, and you need to send them back to the kiosk or on their phone or however, they sign a waiver, but you'll need to make sure that they go back and sign that waiver, and then you pull it, and you can literally remove them from the sale, right? And when they come back to the counter, you can pull them up again and it will show that the waiver was signed. It's instant, right? So we use what's called the webhook, not to get over technical, but the beauty is when they're in the Otter waiver system, as soon as they submit the waiver, Ben's system, the Otter system, basically wakes up coreSTORE and says, "Yo, I've got a waiver." So it's an immediate connection, and we basically, okay, time for us to grab that waiver into coreSTORE. So it's instant. It's not like it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, it's literally instant. So which is a nice way in terms of how the integration has been done.
I am looking at the chat. Todd, if you could just clarify in the chat for us, when you're talking about the customer side for range check-in, are you referring to something similar such as CityGrow that has a check-in on an iPad? Could you try to help clarify your question for us?
Oh, is Todd referring to a wait list?
Okay, that's what
Is he asking about a wait list capability?
No, CityGrow allows you to type in your phone number and then check in the system if you need to sign a waiver, and then it allows you to check in, and that's what he was asking about. Todd,
I gotcha.
Todd, to your question, that is something that's on our back burner. I can't make a promise for Range Retail for that feature, but I can make a promise for Q4 of this year for that. But that's something that we are looking for, to be able to verify someone on the kiosk app if they signed a waiver, if they signed a new one, and check them in, which is going to be great. It's just on the back burner, so my apologies that we don't have that feature right now.
Awesome.
Joel, are there any other questions in the chat at all that I missed?
No, but I have one. Obviously, Smart Waivers, fairly recognizable name in the industry. Can you give us the different? How are you different?
Hey, Joel,
from Smart Waiver?
I'm going to let me step in first, right?
Okay.
And say I encourage, again, even if you're looking at CoreWare, look at other solutions, right? Ben doesn't know everything about Smart Waiver, and I don't know everything about my competitor, right? If someone asks me, well, how do you compare against Access? I can't really tell you. I don't use their system, right? So it's up to you, the customer, to do your due diligence. Always check for references and look at what the true differences are, because Ben maybe might say, hey, we have this feature and they don't, but maybe they just added that feature a week ago and vice versa.
That's true.
So first and foremost, it's important that you do your due diligence. But let me tell you what is important from my standpoint, right? There's waiver system is a waiver system is a waiver system. A point of sale system is a point of sale system is a point of sale system. Who are you working with, right? This is why we get what I feel very close with our customers, because our customers know us. I mean, I'm sitting at a customer literally in their store. They graciously let me use their training room. You want to find the right partner. And the beauty why we really were excited about getting together with Ben is we know Ben is super industry friendly. And not only that, he's super focused on the industry. And not only that, I can get a hold of Ben. He's the CEO of Otter Waiver, and he will respond fast. So he has the CoreWare seal of approval. We're looking for a really good long-term relationship with Ben. He's been a lot more responsive than our relationship with Smart Waiver. I'm not knocking them, but they're a big entity that deals with a lot of industries, and they're not hyper focused like both Otter and CoreWare are on the gun industry. And yes, Ben has other industries. CoreWare has other industries, but we're both very much hyper focused on the firearms industry. We're here to stay. We fully support it. So absolutely, the big comparison is, don't worry about, oh, this guy does this feature, this guy does another feature. Look at who the company is behind it, and are they going to stand behind the product? Are they going to give you good support? and are they going to be a good partner for you? And this is why we're excited about Otter Waiver. So, Ben, sorry for stepping in on that,
Oh,
but
no worries.
I want to make sure I addressed that. So,
No worries. I mean,
but you can add whatever you want.
I was
Smart Waiver sucks. I don't know, but go ahead.
I was gonna
I'm just kidding.
say that. I was gonna say, you know, we already went over like some of the questions that people were asking. It's like, we don't do initialing. They do. We don't take automatic pictures. They do. They do have features we won't handle because we're very hyper focused on compliance. But when it comes to exactly what you said, Ezra, we're 100% gun friendly. We're always going to support the gun industry, and we're going to have your back. When it comes to pricing, are we cheaper? Yes and no. We're honestly like very similar on pricing, but the difference is you're not locked in. If you're locked into a plan for 1,000 waivers on our system and you use 500 this month, 500 rolls over to the next month. We like the whole rollover minutes plan. So it allows you to see how many waivers you're signing for the full year, divide it by 12, and pick the package for that, because it makes it very, very easy with our rollover credits that make sure that you're not overpaying for services. So we make it very, very user-friendly for that aspect. And anytime you go over on waivers, we don't bump you up to another plan. We just charge you 10 cents per waiver versus 15 cents. So on the price point, you'll on average save probably 10 to 20% just on usage on different packages. But that's all I'll say on that point.
Would the sign up go through CoreWare or an entirely?
Sign up for Otter Waiver will come through our site. And then once you set up your waiver, that's when you'll go to our integration page and just follow the steps to be able to get everything set up on CoreWare. So it makes it very, very easy. And after this webinar, we'll put together a quick training video as well. So we'll make it very easy in our training documents for you guys.
Awesome. Any more questions?
So Joel, what's our next webinar?
I believe it's
Wow, you failed me.
Corilla, obviously.
There we go. We're going to be talking AI, aren't we? AIAIO?
Hey, I am really excited about Corilla, honestly. Corilla, Corey, everything. Hey, everybody, stop messaging me. I know. No, hey, we have a really great team. No, Corilla is going to be, I believe, Corilla's like, forgive me if I'm like, if this is too crass, but Corilla is the gateway drug, honestly. It is like, it's the most fun solution I think we offer, but it's so necessary because it creates a solid, it'll create solid relationships with you and your customers. So, and with the power with Corey, everything that Corilla allows you to do, I'm really, really excited about this next one. And I'll be talking more, and I'll wear a hat for everyone. So
wear a Corilla hat. No, we're excited. This Otter webinar is the first of what we're trying to start doing of many future webinars. And Ben, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to see you, and we'll make sure we'll post links for the Range and Retail show in July. I believe it's somewhere around July 12th. Don't quote me.
10th through the 12th.
It is in Milwaukee, a super awesome, fun city. I'm just kidding. I have no idea why they chose Milwaukee.
Never been there.
We will always find good food, right? At CoreWare, we will always find somewhere good to eat. So,
always.
Yeah. So hit us up. Let us know if you're joining. If you want to join us for dinner. No, there's not an official CoreWare dinner because I don't know how many people are coming, but you're welcome to tag along with us. I'm sure we'll do a couple of cool dinners. And if you have any questions about Otter Waiver, make sure we will definitely send out an email with links so you can sign up to Otter Waiver. Again, is there a trial? I don't know if you mentioned that, Ben. I apologize if you did.
Oh, no worries. We really didn't even go over pricing. There is a 14-day trial.
Oh yeah, go over pricing.
We're
not in a rush to finish.
Let me jump over to my screen.
Joel just sounds like he has a hot date or something. I don't know.
You guys, hey, stay. I said I will be right there. Hold on.
Can I share my screen?
Absolutely. Let me stop mine.
All right, there we go. So I just shared a link inside of our chat. That is our custom link for CoreWare. And let me open it up. So this is the link that we shared in the presentation. This is our landing page for CoreWare. Gives all the details, especially with the pricing that you do not see on our website, because we do have lower packages that are actually show up on our website that I'll show you right here. So if you go to otterwaiver.com/pricing, you can see our top 4 pricing packages from 250 waivers to 2,500 waivers. That every single package includes rollover waivers if you don't use them. Every package also includes, sorry, my mind went blank. Every package also includes the option to do a 14-day free trial that includes up to 100 documents that you can sign. From there, your membership will automatically start. If you do monthly plans with us, monthly plans, depending on the package, will save you 1 month to 2 months, depending on the package that you do.
You mean yearly?
Yearly.
If you pay annual?
Yeah, if you pay annually.
Yeah, got it.
So this is yearly. This is 500 waivers per month, not 500 waivers for the year. We did find a typo on our website because of that. Another great thing that we're offering, especially if you're a current client of CoreWare and you're wanting to switch from another competitor of ours, if you're on a yearly plan, show us your invoice. We'll be happy to make sure that you don't lose money by switching. So if we give you a better deal for the year,
that's awesome.
We'll make sure we eat the cost for your switch, especially if you're stuck in a year contract and you can't get a refund. So we're very flexible so that you don't have to lose money while doing a switch and instead gain money.
Joel, I don't know if that's a good thing, because now our customers are going to expect that type of deal. So kind of knock that out of the recording. I'm just kidding. No, that's actually a really awesome thing to do. And it's smart. It's an investment in the customer going with you. So that's cool.
Yeah, we want to invest in them. And then, yeah, this link that was shared, it shows our smallest package on here, which is 100 waivers, and then all the way up to 10,000 waivers. So we have a variety of packages. I think the main question we've been getting over the last 2 weeks is, why don't we have a waiver plan that's between 500 and 1,000 waivers? And the reason being is every waiver that you go over is only 10 cents. So there's no cost savings between the two plans. We actually had someone sign up and they're like, we do 7,000 waivers. Why isn't there a plan? And I go, well, you get 6,000 waivers for the 500 waiver plan annually, and it'll cost an extra $100 for those extra 1,000 waivers, which is $980 instead of switching to $1,650. So it's very cheap to be able to pick a plan as long as you're flexible between the two, if that makes sense. But yeah, that is the pricing, and they'll also share this link with you so you can get access.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Any other questions?
Joel, I'm not going to ask you anything because obviously you already failed me. So
also make sure everyone holds me accountable for doing the expiration date by range retailer.
Oh, trust me, Ben. I don't forget these things.
We just got a question on here. How long is the waiver stored for? Does it cut off after
That's a good question.
time? It is stored for life as long as you're a customer of ours. Great scenario. Legally, minor waivers have to be stored for a period of to the age of 21 plus 3 years. So for minors, it has to be stored for that long. For adults, it has to be stored for 7 years. So we don't delete data unless you decide to go somewhere else. And if you decide to go somewhere else, you can export all your data as well as all your files, and store them on Dropbox or Google Drive. We also, for the fact that coreWare is pulling all the data over, your data is also stored in a secondary spot as well. So, but we store it forever.
Yeah, again, your main data repository for the waivers will be in on the Otter platform. So I don't know if on our side, if we're pulling it down, but I don't know if we store it permanently. So I just want to make sure that's clear. So your main data for the waivers is absolutely on the Otter platform.
Yeah, and since we're doing a major update because of Ezra for 1 to 10 years, we're actually going to redo our database so that if you have your system set up for 1 year, it means every time a new waiver is signed, all the old waivers go into what's considered cold storage. So all the new ones will be accessible to be able to search from easily. So thank you, Ezra, for that.
No problem. I can cost you more money if you give me enough time. I'll figure some other good stuff to do.
I like it. It keeps us on our toes.
Awesome.
Anything else? I think we're good.
I think we're great. This was fun.
We are great.
Perfect.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you, guys.
Ben, do you have a parting message?
My parting message is do your research. Ezra is 100% correct. You should research the competition. You should research your options, and you should also look at who supports the industry and who's going to have your back in the industry. Working with companies like coreWare and Otter Technologies, we're in it for the long haul for the firearms compliance, as well as working with firearms companies.
Yeah, and that's very important. I mean, everyone in this industry already knows, and every day, something tragic happens, and we just continue to get a bad name. More and more, I'm sure people will ostracize this industry, so it's good to have allies like Ben and Otter Technologies on our side. So thank you so much, Ben. And Ezra, thank you for being on time today.
Hey, nice try.
I really it's good. I'm not Otter, but Ezra's middle name is Punctual, because he is literally, we never push anything back. We are usually we're 15, 20 minutes early. So I appreciate that today.
Oh, I will say, when you guys sign up for Otter Waiver, try not to tempt me with a good time or a new gun to purchase, because a range yesterday tempted me, and then I wound up buying a rifle from them.
I'll be honest with you, Ben. It's not hard to convince you to purchase stuff. Is
No.
it? It's really not. Did you do you have my idea sitting around you? My suggestion?
I do. Joel actually told me to get this attachment for my Glock 19 for getting a better trigger pull happening. What's this called, Joel?
Oh,
because you were the one that had me buy it.
I think it's Dry Mag or something like that. It literally just resets your trigger. So it's a magazine
resets the trigger.
that you just resets the trigger.
Very helpful.
wow.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard to get Ben. I wish I had 1,000 bins, and I would just totally just sell to that one little group, because it's very easy.
That's hysterical.
Well, hey, thank you everyone for joining us. Anyone else have anything? Parting words, Ezra?
Look, I'm trying to recover from the attack on me, so I'm speechless at the moment.
Hey, I know exactly how you feel. I'll go put my hat on now.
Because not having a hat has made you a lot meaner. I'm gonna go lick my wounds.
No, I am too. Everybody's like, "Hey, put your hat back on." I'm like, "Dude, maybe you're just jealous." I know my head's beautiful, but maybe they're just jealous. Hey, they'll be there one day. They'll be like, "Where's my hair going?" Yeah, remember, Joel? No, hey, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We'll have this. We'll have a replay probably in the next few days, so be on the lookout for that. The quality will probably be a little bit better, and it will not seem that Ezra was late. With the magic of Hollywood, Ezra's going to be on time in that
exactly.
replay. So
that's awesome.
All right. Ben, you have anything else? Looks like you want to say
Oh,
something.
I just thought of something that I completely forgot. If any ranges switch over and want to volunteer to do a video featuring Otter Waiver and coreWare, please let either one of us know. I have something special if you guys want to do it. So.
Oh, cool.
That's good.
We'll
Absolutely.
participate
That's really
in
good.
that, Ben, as far as whatever sponsorship.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that would be cool. So take advantage of that.
Super cool. Well,
All right,
Joel and Ben, maybe figure it out, and when we send out the email of the replay, we can mention it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unless
Probably do a little
Ben wants
video,
to keep
too.
it a surprise, that's good too. I like surprises, so I'm good
do
with
I'll
too.
get
surprises.
Joel to the details.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
not on here.
It's a surprise.
Okay.
Cool.
That sounds
very
good.
cool. That's awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
This is the beginning of our webinar Wednesdays is back. We're going to be doing these
Woo-hoo!
probably every 2 weeks. So stand by. We're going to have some fun content. The next one I think is going to be it's going to be hard to beat the next one, in all honesty, because it's going to seem like we're doing some wizardry.
Yeah, considering
And,
you barely knew what the next one is, I find that hard to believe. But
I'm a promoter. However, so is Corilla. So stand by for that one.
bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.